So my name is Isabel Rodriguez, and I am board director of the Summit School District. Within the community, my full-time job, I would say, is I am the program manager for the Cycle Effect, which is a nonprofit whose mission is to empower young women through mountain biking. But in the community, I take on many different roles just in advocating for our Spanish-speaking community and our immigrant community. And I would say I'm a family leader. I think my biggest hope is to be able to lead by example, and I know that I am not the one person to represent our full community, but I also know that representation is so important to kids who might see themselves in someone like me, because I am an immigrant, because I did come to this country when I was young. I was 8, and I had to learn a whole new language, a whole new system, and go through this completely new education system along with my 5 younger brothers, and helping my parents navigate this, and just the privilege that I've had with the education and receiving a higher education. I hope that I can be an example, just one amongst many, that our kids in Summit School District can see, if she can do it, then so can I. As an immigrant, I am the first generation to go to college in my whole extended family. I was the first woman of all my cousins to go to college. And it's huge. Getting a college degree for me was like reaching the top of that mountain, and knowing that I was setting this path for my brothers because they come after me. But then when I was in college, I took this part-time job while studying it was a literacy course, and it was working at a high school developing just curriculum for youth who needed extra support. And I found myself really enjoying that. And then I realized, because of my experience growing up in this country and not having those teachers who looked like me, I realized there are so many other kids just like myself who could use a teacher who looks like them. So that really pushed me to want to become a teacher. And so I did, and I came to Summit County just hoping to really be able to be that example for a lot of children. And when I walked into my classroom my first year here in Summit County, and I got to meet my students, and I got to know their stories and get to see where they were from. I had students from Uzbekistan, from Czech Republic, from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, of course. And I thought, what a beautiful place to be. I've just fallen to the most perfect place in the middle of the mountains, which I would never expect. And I just thought, this is a community who's inviting me to share who I am, to share where I come from. And while I do that, I'm opening the space for anybody else to share as well, and to make sure that they're sharing their identity. So that's how I came to be here. And so then the cycle effect comes up and pulls me out of the school district completely when I was doing something that I really loved, which was developing a dance program for students, because I truly feel that once you feel comfortable with your cultural identity and you feel comfortable with your heritage and your background, then that confidence builds up and you start to excel in other areas, which I lived in my personal experience, just having that conflict of, where do I come from? Where do I fit in? Who am I? Who am I not? I changed gears completely, leaving the school district, and realized that opened up the doors to be a part of the board. Well, and then I had kids. So I think that's a huge part of it, because I, as the eldest in my family, I got to live through what the education system is like in the United States. And I grew up in Denver, and I got to see how I really received the resources that I needed to be able to excel and to receive the best education that I could. But it wasn't the same for my brothers. And I always wonder why that is. And we did not go through the same schools, and we did not have the same experiences. Our experiences were very different, but we were in the same neighborhood, and we were always together as a family, and yet our education was so different. And then I reflect a lot on my experience and what I wonder, like, what was lacking for them? What could we have done more of? And now I have two young men as well, and they're going to go through this education system, and they're growing up biliterate, bicultural, bilingual. And I wonder, like, what can I do so that their experiences, while they'll be very different from mine, can also lead them to be successful. And that is by example, I think, but it's also, now I realize, by like taking this leadership as a board director, what can I do with policy? What can I do with the changes that need to happen, or the things that we need to highlight more, to make sure that not just my kids, but everybody is succeeding, especially those kids who have been through my classroom, who are now in middle and high school, and what can I do for them? Well, more than ever, we are realizing the inequities, right? With COVID, more than ever, those are just like highlighted and put in our faces like never before. And I think they've been there, and I've seen that in just the ways that I've received my education versus anybody else. And so now what? So now what do we do about it? And in this moment, I also think Summit School District has, and it's part of the reason why I took on this role, has this diverse board and this like best of circumstances. I really do think it's the best of circumstances where we could really come together and work together. And so many voices are being elevated because of the board that we have right now that weren't there before. So that's what I'm really excited about in jumping on board, because I took a role where somebody else resigned, and so mine is just for a shorter period of time. And I as soon as I saw that opportunity, I jumped onto it, because my ultimate goal is that I feel like when I get involved in these leadership roles, I'm doing it because I know that someone like me needs to be at the table to advocate for my community, for the Spanish-speaking community, for immigrant community, and then for everyone else, because I do feel like I connect with a lot of our students, because I am the bridge maker. I do bridge people together. So I truly feel like I can advocate for everyone in different ways. But I also feel like it's this struggle and this battle for creating those spaces for people like me. So creating a space for a Latina, creating a space for a female, creating a space for an immigrant. And my ultimate goal is that when my kids grow up, when our students grow up, they don't have to worry about creating those spaces, because those spaces will already be there. And it will just be a part of how we function. And we won't have to be fearful about, well, I'm going to be on this board, but I'm going to be the only one, where you become like that token. Yeah. That's my biggest goal, that's not going to be there anymore. That space and that role and that table is going to be there for my kids, and it's going to be more natural for them to jump on board. think the biggest thing that I'm learning from this year, and just the way and like the changes that I've had in my life just this year, is that our roles come in the most unexpected ways, and it does not mean that we cannot do them. Because I never thought that I would be a mountain biker. And I never thought that I could actually do it. And here I am. And I am a mountain biker, and I love it. And it was a complete shift from who I identified myself as. I was like, I'm a dancer, I'm an artist, I love this. And then I realized my purpose was really to work with youth, and my purpose was to empower youth. And it didn't matter how I did it. So I really hope that, I was a teacher also. And now here I am, a board director. And I never thought that I would be doing that either. So I hope that our kids get to see that those roles that you may think are not for you, sometimes they show up as a great opportunity. And like my dad told me when I was 8 years old, take the opportunity. Just take it.